Hey guys, it's Aiden. I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on chord progressions. Building chord progressions, spicing them up a little bit, different types of cadences, secondary dominants, etc. So if you have no idea what I just said, in a nutshell, basically making a chord progression from scratch and making it sound pretty cool. Okay. This isn't going to be like other tutorials you may have seen where you look at common chord progressions like, I don't know, 6, 4, 1, 5, and then you kind of use that to inspire your own. I'm going to actually show you the flow of chords in a major key. So right now I have my website pulled up. First thing you need to do before this lesson is make sure you understand you need to understand major chords, or you need to understand chords in a major key in the first place. So for that, check out my Introduction to Tonics, Keys, and Scales lesson, and then maybe types of chords would help a little bit, but yeah, definitely check out this introduction lesson. You need to know that. If you got that down, we can get on to the real thing. This is right here, this chart I crudely drew in paint, is basically the flow of chords in a major key. Basic flow chart, pretty easy to understand. Arrows just dictate which chord can go to which, and sound smooth. One can pretty much go anywhere, I just didn't put that there because I didn't feel like drawing an arrow from one to everything. So, say I want to build a chord progression off of this. Let's say I'm on a 6 chord, so I'm going to start on 6. After 6, you can see I could go to 4 or 2, so I'm just going to say 2. Okay, from the 2, I can go to the 7 or the 5, so I'm going to say 5. And then from the 5, I could go to the I could go to the 6 or the 1. So I'm going to go to the 1, just to wrap it up right there with 4 chords. Okay, for this tutorial, I'm going to be playing guitar just because it's easier for me than piano. So hopefully the sound quality is bearable. But if I were to play what I just wrote in the key of, I'm going to stay in C mostly for this video just because it's easy to understand. That would be A minor, D minor, G, C. Okay, so there you go. Basic chord progression I made up in about 5 seconds. Okay, that's the flow of chords in a major key. That's step 1 of all this, so that's pretty easy to understand. You just follow the chart. You can see 4 can go to 2, but 2 can't go to 4. You can see 4 can go to 1, or 4 can go to 2, 6 can go to 4, 6 can go to 2, the 3 can go to the 4, etc. Just look at all the arrows, copy that down somewhere, keep it safe, or better yet, memorize it. It'll help you out later when you're improvising. But cool. What we're going to talk about is secondary dominants. Secondary dominant chord is written as 5 of, and then whatever it's the secondary dominant of. So, first of all, you need to remember about secondary dominants is that whenever you take a secondary dominant of something, you then follow it with whatever you just took the secondary dominant of. So, my chord progression is going to go, I'm going to start on the 1. This will all make sense in a minute, just keep watching. So if I'm on the 1, and from there I wanted to go to the 2, I could put right here in between them 5 of 2. So instead of going directly from 1 to 2, you can go 1, 5 of 2, and then 2. You always follow 5 of whatever with whatever that whatever is. Hopefully that makes sense. So if I were to take 1, 5 of 3, I would then follow that with a 3. So it just kind of adds some flavor into it. The song I can think of off the top of my head that uses it is Elton John's Your Song. That uses a secondary dominant. It's that chord that sounds really cool. Can't remember what line it is, but he uses a secondary dominant. It's basically the really cool sounding chord in the song. But so on my guitar real quick, if I'm in C, instead of going C to D minor, I'm going to go from C to the 5 of 2, which in this case is going to be A, to D minor. Okay, so how did I know that A was the 5 of 2? Here's what it means. Here's C, here's D minor. If I want to take my 5 of 2, that means I'm going to take the 2 as a D, just chop off that minor for now, just focus on the D, and in the key of D, the 5 chord, that's what we're doing, we're taking the 5 of the 2, so the 5 of D is an A. So the 5 of 2, and you can see it's capital Roman numeral, so it's A major. It's all the 5 secondary dominant's always major. So instead of going C to D minor, we're going to go C, A, D minor. Hopefully that made sense. Whatever you're taking the 5 of, so if I was taking the 5 of 3, the 3 is E minor, so just take the 5 chord in the key of E, which would be B. So I would go C to B to E minor. So hopefully that makes sense. 5 chords always major if you're doing the secondary dominant. Follow that with whatever the chord is. So instead of going C to D minor, we're going to go C to A it sounds kind of cool. It adds that tension in. That's the Elton John song I was talking about. That's exactly what he does. I'm pretty sure he does the 5 of 2, but you can do that anywhere. You can do it for any chord. Well, not any chord. The rules are you have the 5 chords you can do a secondary dominant for are the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, write that down, remember it, pay attention. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can't take a 5 of 1 because that would, I mean, you could take a 5 of 1, but that doesn't really make sense because the 5 of 1 is just the 5 chord. So, and you can't take a 5 of 7 because you don't really want to stack up on diminished triads. Or diminished intervals. That doesn't happen. So, and then really you don't even want to take a 5 of 4 because the 5 of 4 is just your 1 chord. So, really there's the 4 you would use are 5 of 2, 5 of 3, 5 of 5, and 5 of 6. Of those, I don't like the 5 of 5 too much. I like the 5 of the minor chords because from there you go to a minor chord and it sounds cool. So, yeah, that's secondary dominance. Alright, so if you've got all that, I'm going to use that to make up a chord progression real quick. Okay, so let's build a chord progression real quick. I don't have much time left. So, I'm going to start on the 3, just because that's where our chart starts. I'm going to start on the 3. From the 3 I can either go to the 4, or I can go to the 6. So I'm going to go to the 4 just because why not. From the 4, I'm going to go to the 2. But instead of going straight to the 2, I'm going to go to a 5 of 2, which is one of my favorites. I'm going to go to 5 of 2, and then 2. From the 2, I'm going to go to the 5, and then to the 1. Okay. So, okay, I'll go ahead and play that first of all. So in the key of C, that would be E minor to F, to 5 of 2, which would be A, to D minor, to 5, to 1. So if I put that all together, okay, there you go. That was a quick, easy 6-chord progression. Sorry for the guitar not sounding too good. I just broke my finger, so it's kind of hard for me to play at the moment, but hopefully you can get the gist. There you go, easy chord progression. Okay, now what I'm going to do is add a 7 onto that 5. So now it's going to go 5, 7 to 1. And listen, I'm just going to play this last part, 2, 5, 1. I'm going to play 2, 5, 1. And now I'm going to play 2, 5, 7, 1. That 5, 7 adds a little bit more tension, which makes the resolution to the 1 chord feel a lot stronger. Okay, how did I know that would sound good? 5, 7. Okay, 5, 7 to 1 is a very common example of what we're going to talk about next, and those are cadences. So, our basic types of cadences are perfect cadences, which is what I just did, which is a 5 to 1. And it's very common to do 5, 7 in place of just a 5. 5, 7 to 1, extremely common, and that is a perfect cadence. That's the most overused. You hear it in pop music, rock, honestly anything. That's pretty common. 5, 7 to 1. It's in jazz too. My favorite cadence is the plagal cadence, which is 4 to 1, and that's the one you hear in church at the end of that chant, or not chant, I don't know what it's called, where they sing Amen. Yeah. That's 4 to 1. That's a plagal cadence. That's my favorite. It would sound like this. That's plagal. In F, that would be... Okay, plagal cadence. And then we have... I'm going to go from there to a half cadence, and a half cadence is pretty much anything to 5. But when I say anything, the most common ones are going to be 2 or 4. So I'm going to say 2 and 4. And those are half cadences, which are not common because ending the whole point of a cadence is it resolves a song and makes it sound finished. So ending on a 5 chord is not very common because it doesn't sound resolved. I honestly, personally don't know any songs that end on a 5, but if you wanted to spice things up or make something sound weird, you could try out a half cadence. Then we have deceptive cadences, which are 5 to 6. These are pretty cool, and they're called deceptive cadences because whenever someone in a song, they might not consciously know it, but in their head, whenever someone hears a 5 chord, they are expecting a 1 chord after that. It's just common. Whenever you hear the 5 chord, near the end of a song, you're going to expect it to go to a 1. If you're hearing this, you're then expecting that. But if I were to all of a sudden go to a 6 chord, deceptive. You think the song's about to end, but then it goes on. So deceptive cadences, 5 to 6, are generally used to extend the song. Alright, so I mean there's other types of cadences, like the Phrygian half cadence, which is pretty cool, and then you have imperfect cadences, those are awesome too. But these are the 4 ones that you're going to be using the most. So again, perfect cadence, 5 to 1 or 5/7 to 1 is a common way to do it. 4 to 1 is your plagal cadence, my favorite. And then you have your half cadence, which is 2 to 5 or 4 to 5 usually. Those are not common. And then you have 5 to 6 is your deceptive cadence, which is pretty cool. You just use it to extend a piece and add some flavor in if the song's starting to get kind of boring and drone on. You use that to kind of trick the audience's minds. They think it's about to end, but then it goes on. So they're pretty fun to mess with. Now, using all of that, hopefully you understood everything so far. Using all of that, I'm going to build, because I, for some reason, drew 6 little lines over here. Oops, I just erased one. I'm going to make a 6-bar chord progression really fast, off the top of my head, or using everything we've done. So I'm going to go 3, because that's where the chart starts. From 3, I can either go to 4 or to 6. So I'm going to go to 6, because why not? From the 6, you can go to the 4 or the 2. I'm going to go to the 4. From the 4, you can go to the 2 or the 1. Okay, I'm going to go to the 2, but before I go to the 2, I'm going to do the 5 of 2 just to make it sound interesting. So I'm going to go 5 of 2 and then 2. And then from the 2, I'm going to extend this by 1 because from the 2, I now want to go to the 5 and then the 1. But see that I ended on a 5-1, which makes it a perfect cadence, so it'll sound finished. To make it sound more resolved, I'm going to do a 5-7. Hopefully you're with me because everything I just said is something I went over in this video, so rewind it if you're lost. So altogether, if I were to do in the key of C, because that's easy to work with, that's going to be E minor to A minor to F to the 5 of 2, which in this case would be A, to D minor to G7 to C. And here's a 7-bar chord progression, and it sounds like this. There you go. Honestly, I just showed you everything you really need to know to get started on writing chord progressions. If you can remember all this, then you're pretty well on your way to making awesome chord progressions that most people aren't going to have heard in pop music. If you're in pop music, honestly, 1, 5, 6, 4, or no, sorry, 1, 4, 5, 1. I mean, you're pretty much going to be using all 1, 4s, and 5s. And it's a lot of really overused stuff. If you can memorize this flowchart and start to be creative and improvise a little bit, and then throw in some secondary dominants for sure, that's going to really spice things up. From there, throw in some inversions, and then from there, go see my other video on spicing up chords with extensions, and you're really going to be making some awesome stuff. So, there is a part 2 to this. It's I don't remember what I called it, probably livening up chords with extensions or spicing up chords. But check that out after this if you got all this down. Thanks for watching. It would help me out a lot if you guys went to my website, checked out my other lessons, and then went to my Facebook page and hit the like button, facebook.com/AidenO'ConnorMedia. I'd really appreciate the support. And then check out my YouTube channel too. It's brand new, Aiden O'Connor Media. That's my YouTube username. Just support me however you can. Leave some comments on this video. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you'd like to learn in the future. And I hope you guys had a good time and learned a lot. Thanks. See you next time.